I'm here with my very first Unhaul video. Generally, I don't unhaul books, I just hoard them. I am definitely somewhat of a collector. However, now there are special circumstances because I'm gonna be moving and I won't be able to fit in this big bookshelf most probably. So I'm gonna have to get a smaller one, and therefore I'm gonna get rid of some of my books. Most of the books that I'm gonna get rid of are books that I've already read. Some of them are books that I just don't think that I'll ever read. That's just been sitting on my shelf for way too long. But yeah, there are 40 books here, so I'm just gonna get started. So the first couple of books that I'm gonna give away is the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. And it's not because I really want to get rid of them, it's just that I want to get this series in English. And I mean, it's kind of unnecessary to have both the books in Swedish and in English when you don't have that much space. So I'm gonna give these away and try and get myself some new ones. So yeah, let's have a head count of those books, shall we? And by the way, for some reason the Swedish publisher decided to just split up all the English books into 2 or 3 parts. So these books are just gonna be one part of one of the books, but yeah. This is part 2 of The Stone of Tears, part 1 of Blood of the Fold, parts 1, 2, and 3 of The Soul of the Fire, parts 1 and 2 of The Fate of the Fallen, and finally parts 1 and 2 of Naked Empire. I'm also gonna get rid of some classics that I bought a few years ago when I was to London. First is 1984 by George Orwell. Second is Perfume, The Story of a Murderer by Patrick Süskind. Third is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. And fourth is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. And this is the only book out of those 4 that I haven't read, and it's just super thick and not that pretty and stuff. I started reading this, I read 200 pages and then I just did not really have the time for it. But I really liked the book that far. So I am gonna buy this in a pre-year edition and give this one away. Then there are 2 Swedish books that do not have English translations, but yeah, anyway. The first one is a Swedish detective novel called Tonight You Are Dead by Vivica Sten. And the second one is Christianity for Atheists by Olle Carlsson, which I bought at a secondhand shop as well, and I was gonna read it, but I just never got to it, and I just completely lost interest in it by now, so I mean, yeah. The Artemis Fowl books by Eowyn Colfer. I only own 3 of them, but yeah, I'm not gonna collect the rest of the books, and I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna reread them, so I'm gonna get rid of them. The first one is Artemis Fowl, the second is The Cold War, and the third is The Eternity Code. Marley and Me by John Rogan, which I read earlier this year. Matched by Ali Kondi. Yeah, if you've seen my wrap-ups, you'll know that I really did like this book. But I'm probably gonna get the rest of the books in paperback if I do end up buying them. And I do not like my books not matching, so I mean, yeah, I'm gonna give this away. If I buy the other 2 books, I'll probably buy this one in paperback as well. So I'm gonna give this away to some other person who wants to read it. Another Swedish book without an English release, Winter Apples by Josefine Sundström. What Came Before You Shot Her by Elizabeth George. I have not read this book. I bought it when I was 11 or 12 maybe at a yard sale of some sort. And I just never got to it. I'm a little bit interested in it, to be honest. I think it sounds like an interesting premise, but I'm not gonna get to this. Maybe I'll read it in English and borrow it from the library or something, but yeah, I won't read this copy. The Twilight books by Stephanie Meyer. I read these back when they came out, when I was 13, 14, 15, about that time, and I really liked them back then. But now I'm just so aware of all the problems that it has that I don't really want to reread them. And if I do reread them, I don't think that I would enjoy it as much. So I'm just gonna give them away. And the first one of those books are Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, and also Volume 1 of Twilight, the graphic novel. Then we have this random collection of paperbacks that I've just gotten. I have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. 3 of them I have not read. One I have tried reading 3 times, but I just can't get through it, so I am gonna give it away now. I'm gonna give it up. That one book that I tried so hard to read but couldn't is Night Train to Lisbon by Pascal Mercier. One of the books that I have not read, Simon and the Oaks by Marianne Fredriksson. And the other book that I haven't read, The Horseman's Son and Going to Extremes by Dolores Fossen and Amanda Stevens. Then we have A Child Called It by Dave Pelzer, Jar City and Silence of the Grave by Anna Lundin-Riddarson, Sickened by Julie Gregory, which I read like a week ago, and The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. This is also just a book that I have so many fond memories of, but I've decided that I'm gonna buy the entire trilogy in English. So yeah, gonna say goodbye to this copy. Then I'm gonna give away 4 out of my 6 Oxford Words Classics. 3 of them I've already read and probably won't reread, and one of them I just realized that I'm not that interested in, so yeah. The one that I'm not interested in is Dracula by Bram Stoker. I tried reading it again last month. I tried earlier, but I didn't get that far into it this time either, and it's just like, yeah, I think right now I think I just tried reading it because I want to have read it. I'm not that interested in it in general, so yeah, I decided I'm just gonna, put my time into other things. There are other classics that I'd rather read. Then we have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, Hamlet by William Shakespeare, which I had a really hard time getting through. I think it's just because of the edition, because I've read some other Shakespeare plays and I've read them in another edition entirely, and I didn't have that many problems with them at all. But this one was just like, I don't know, I didn't get what they were saying at all, and that's weird. So yeah, that made me not like Hamlet that much. I'm probably gonna try to reread it in the edition that I read my other Shakespeare plays in, but yeah, goodbye to this one. And the very final book that I'm gonna give away is The Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle. Those were all the books that I'm gonna give away. I'm gonna try selling them, but I mean, yeah, the rest of them I'm gonna give away, those that I can't sell. And yeah, it's just, this one shelf is gonna be so empty, like, until I get to move all my books to a new shelf. This shelf is just, it looks so sad now that I've gotten all the books out of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little unhaul, and I will see you next time. Bye!